Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Today, Kyle Bauer talks with Doug Berven from Poet, who shares some surprising history behind ethanol. Next up, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Then Duane Toews talks with Alisa Harrison from NCBA. She talks about different types of protein sources available to consumers and what they need to know about them. Meet the Durst family, one of Kansas Farm Bureau's 10 farm families of the year. And to wrap up, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Join us for the third annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle Bauer talks technology with Doug Berven about the history of ethanol.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I get to visit with folks from Poet right now, and Doug Berven has been with Poet a while, but I'd like to talk about the history of ethanol. Really nothing says ethanol more than Poet does in the country, but let's just kind of bring people up to speed on how we got to where we are with ethanol in the United States.
Okay, yeah, well, so ethanol dates way back to the late 1800s. A lot of people don't know that Henry Ford built the Model T to run on ethanol or gasoline. The Model T was the first flex fuel vehicle in this country, okay? And then we had thousands of service stations offering ethanol and gasoline until the 20s and 30s, where we had Prohibition. Prohibition, which was an effort from a lot of Catholic nuns, and John D. Rockefeller wanted to get rid of alcohol for different reasons. Prohibition got rid of ethanol. We really didn't make any ethanol in this country from the 30s to the 70s. In 73, we had the OPEC oil embargo, okay? OPEC said we're not going to sell oil to the United States because they're friends with Israel. That's when Jimmy Carter called ADM and said, hey, can you make fuel out of corn? Because we've got a national security problem that we need to take care of. We need to grow our fuel domestically. That was the next start of the ethanol industry, the rejuvenation. And then in the late 80s, when farming was going south, our CEO, Jeff Broyne, and his family started the ethanol industry as we know it today. They bought a defunct ethanol plant in Scotland, South Dakota. They actually slept in that plant for a long time trying to make that plant work. When they got it to work, they got calls from other groups saying, hey, will you build us an ethanol plant? We have too much corn in this area. We need to help. We need demand for our grain. And ethanol started to grow as a demand sector for grain. And so then we had the RFS of 2005 and 2007, which really catapulted the ethanol industry. From 2000 to 2015, we went from about 1% of the U.S. fuel supply to 10% of the U.S. fuel supply, and that's where we've been for a while. Recent times, we haven't grown much in the last 6 years, okay? So we saw agriculture being very profitable because the ethanol was soaking up surplus grain around the country, right? Over the last 6 years, we have not been keeping up pace with the yields that are increasing around the country. And that's why you see supplies go up, demand has been stagnant, farm incomes are down 50% since 2013. That's because the biofuels industry has not been growing. We need to get back to growing the biofuels sector because biofuels is the catalyst for successful agriculture. We have supported agriculture for years in this country through biofuels. We've gotten away from that, and we need to get back to that. We need to grow our industry, and that's why we're working so hard on E15 year-round, on mid-level ethanol blends. We want choice at the pump. Choice at the pump, E10, E15, E20, E30, E85, means that consumers can choose, and that gives us a free market access to the fuel system. The oil company doesn't want us to do that because a gallon of ethanol sold is a gallon of gasoline not sold. Ethanol is a superior product. We should be selling it. We should be using it all over the country. But look, we're taking market share from the most powerful political force on the planet. That is oil. And they have spent billions of dollars trying to cast doubt in the mind of the American consumer with myths and things just simply aren't true. We're cleaner. We're cheaper. We're a higher performance. We're better for the air, we're better for human health, we're better for the water, we're better for everything. Ethanol is the miracle that nobody knows about. We need it to get out, and we need people to start demanding for more ethanol at the fuel stations.
Thanks, Kyle. Coming up after the break, it's this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay tuned.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Bill Wykes, Illinois soybean producer. He serves as American Soybean Association's Classic co-chair, is joining us. And Bill, the Classic that we referred to is for the upcoming 2020 Commodity Classic, February 27th through the 29th in San Antonio.
That's correct, and it's just a couple months away, so we're looking forward to it.
What are some of the main themes that are going to be for the 2020 Commodity Classic?
This year, our slogan is 2020, see your future clearly. It's really a good slogan, I think, in ways, because there's so many different ways that you can learn when you come to Commodity Classic. We used to call it a show, you could call it a trade show, an association gathering, all this, but really what it is, it's a kind of the premier ag experience that you can find here. It combines not only educational opportunities, premier trade show, innovation, technology, all that. If it's new, you're going to find it there. You have networking opportunities. We also have our association meetings there, not only American Soybean Association, but corn, wheat, and sorghum are all there having their meetings. You also have some entertainment, and to top all things off, it's usually in a very nice location, and this year again in San Antonio, where it's very relaxing. It's a beautiful and unique city. So we combine all those things into one, 3-day show, and this thing was started by farmers, it's created by farmers, it's owned by farmers. We select all the educational things by the farmer committee. So it's really, farmer center.
And as you mentioned, having the ASA have their meeting there as well. Coming off of 2019, of course, very important as far as ASA policy is concerned.
That's true. That's where our resolutions meeting is held, and we take care of what we want to focus on in the coming year.
Bill, if people want to get more information or like to register and get more updates on the event, they can go to Commodity Classics website.
That's right, commodityclassic.com, and in there you'll find everything you need from the lineup, all the different days, what's on, and your registration, and it'll tell you right how to do everything.
Bill, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
No problem. It was good talking to you.
That is Bill Wykes, who is an Illinois soybean producer. He also serves as American Soybean Association's Classic Co-Chair, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Coming up next, Duane Toews talks with Alisa Harrison from NCBA about consumer alternatives to beef protein.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Join us for the 3rd annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Let's join Duane Toews as he visits with Alisa Harrison from NCBA.
Duane Toews joining him once again, an opportunity to catch up with Alisa Harrison with NCBA. Alisa, we think about current trends within the food industry, particularly on the protein side. There's a lot of new opportunities out there for folks to have some choice as far as their protein. typically in the beef industry, we like to think about a good American, all-American beef product as a single ingredient. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what is and isn't in some of those protein products that are available.
Yeah, you're right. There are more choices today for consumers than ever before, but the good news is that beef still is at that top of the spectrum as far as consumer choice. But we are seeing a lot of attention put on some of these new products that are entering the marketplace, particularly the plant-based proteins. And I think that it's certainly technology that we're not opposed to. It does provide another option for consumers, but we do take exception when they try to disparage beef and marketing that. And so they're trying to position their product as being more healthful or more sustainable. And so we're pushing back on behalf of the Beef Checkoff to make sure that the consumer understands what's in beef compared to all the other protein choices. And the great news and the great story that beef has, the nutritional value that we have, we can stack up to anyone, our sustainability story, but also what really separates us more really from all the other protein, even the other animal proteins, it's the taste. People love the taste of beef, and you just cannot replicate that. So that's really our message. Beef's great taste that can't be replicated is kind of our overarching umbrella story that we're taking directly to the consumer through digital consumer advertising, consumer information, a lot of our issues management work and media relations work that we do to try to correct some of the information that's out there. But when you look at what is in beef compared to other products, we think that we've got a great story and we win on that. But really, we win on the taste of beef, and that is something that the marketplace is showing, and our consumer research shows that people still love beef, and beef consumption's up. Beef demand is up, and people continue to have that love affair with beef that they always have.
We think about opportunity really for truth in advertising is all we're really asking for from the beef industry.
Yeah, and I think the work that our policy staff is doing in Washington is working to make sure that all the laws and regulations are being followed by some companies who might be kind of bumping up against that line and who making sure that they're not crossing it, but working with all the regulators to make sure that those laws are being done, because it is important because to make sure that we know we can compete with anyone, any protein choice, as long as we're all operating on a level playing field. And we think that when that's there, then beef wins every time.
Think about another advantage would be a single ingredient. Yeah. When we think about a millennial generation in particular, but a lot of folks are more interested in having a holistic or a more natural product that they're putting on their consumer and their family's table to eat. The great thing about beef, it's got one ingredient.
Right. Consumer absolutely wants more of that whole food. They don't want as much processed foods in their diet, and that's really what they're hearing from the dietetic community, is that it's important to have fresh fruits and vegetables and lean protein as part of a healthful diet. And as you said, the good news is that beef really delivers, not just on the ingredients, but the nutritional powerhouse that beef has compared. You get more protein, the iron, the heme iron that we have, certainly all the minerals and the vitamins that beef has. It really is kind of we like to call it a superfood. We can't call it officially a superfood from a regulation standpoint, but it really does hit the mark for consumers, and consumers are starting to understand that.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break and meet one of Kansas Farm Bureau's Farm Families of the Year.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Now let's meet the Durst family on this week's Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
John and Misty Durst operate a third-generation farm in Washington County. Their custom farming operation consists of 2,500 acres, along with a 100-cow-calf herd. They raise corn, soybeans, milo, wheat, along with forages and alfalfa for feed. John was a Washington County board member for 6 years. During 3 of those years, he served as president and worked on agricultural issues such as farm labor and transportation. Misty is currently a county board member and chair of the Women's Committee. Both Misty and John are involved in the Environmental and Natural Resources Committee and Vote FBF Task Force. The Dursts have been active in their local community. John served as president of the local fire department. Misty does women's ministry events and volunteers for the local fire department. Both teach adult Sunday school at their church. Their vision for Kansas Farm Bureau is to continue being an advocate for farmers in Kansas and to teach the younger generations how vital the farming industry is. Misty also hopes to be a voice for women in agriculture by encouraging them.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Join us for the 3rd annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now it's time for a little Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane Allen Toews.
Here, present accounted for.
Yes, sir.
Your fact or fiction question of the day. The average computer watcher.
Okay.
While you're at, we'll scratch that.
Scratch that?
Well, I mean.
Well, I already had my mind going toward computer watcher.
While you're at a computer screen.
Oh, okay.
You blink an average of 7 times a minute.
True.
While the average person not looking at a computer screen blinks roughly 20 times a minute.
Oh.
Fact or fiction?
Oh, well, see, I already gave my answer way too early because then you had a chance to change it right there. 20, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, okay.
Oh, blinky.
That's true. It's like, how fast do you have to blink before they name you Blinky?
Yeah.
I'll go true.
That's what it says.
Yeah, I thought it was
you
about
blink
20
less
times.
while looking at a computer screen, which I
I
assume would lead to eye fatigue.
I suppose.
Staring at a computer screen all day, if that's your job.
I've never had to do that, so I don't know. I mean, there are lots of people who do.
Sure, that's all day long.
I don't know if they do it anymore, but it used to be when you would take a video of a computer screen.
It'd be pixelated.
It had bars across it, and sometimes the bars would be running down like this. And
I've never tried a video. I've just tried to take still frame picture.
Oh, okay.
And it's like pixelated. It doesn't come. I mean, if you get too close, it's not good.
Well, and to be honest, we've got this thing right now shooting. Okay. Is it including that screen in there?
Well,
and so
only
my point
in the corner, unless they crop it out.
So we don't know what it's actually shooting.
Really, no idea.
Because the HD cameras are probably completely different than the old days. When we had the little box camera, and then you had to crank the side of it. Yeah.
That was before my time.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Kyle was still here then.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends that I know. Well,
I can't believe that.
I guess
I don't believe it.
I don't know if they're going to appreciate that or not if I said friends.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a condition called dry eye.
I've heard of it.
And I use drops frequently throughout the day. That would be... I mean, they say it's kind of an uncomfortable situation.
Oh, I think it would be, and I think when they get out in the wind, it's even worse, isn't it?
Well, it would, make
dry
sense.
it out.
Dry it out even faster.
More. Yeah, there's a lot of those tiny little details in the human body that it's like, how big a deal can that be? Until it doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's shortcut this synapse here.
The one that I thought, have you ever heard of it, besides somebody that smashes their finger, you ever heard of anybody whose fingernails don't grow?
Oh.
That they don't grow at all. They just stay the same.
I've
Me
never heard of
either.
that.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was driving
How cool
down the
would that
road.
be if you didn't have to.
But just we think about our fingernails grow. We don't think about my fingernails growing. Sometimes it's would they slow down? I'd slow down, guys. But no, they. But just think about
the purpose for them growing.
I know what mine are.
So when you
mash it
with a hammer,
I get a new one in about 6 months.
I get a new one. I get a do-over. Yeah, the last time I tried to put a Phillips head screwdriver through the back of my thumb, it was amazing how much blood flow you have at that extremity from your heart.
Do you think that nail is going to go bad? Is it going to be
No, the nail never did.
Well, I thought anything below the joint, you were lower than
I was above the joint, but below the back, the cuticle.
Yes, but I thought that's where your nail started growing in that area and then grew out. But my point is if you injured that, it would
didn't. Evidently, I must have been behind the growing point.
Or your nails aren't growing anymore and you never noticed it.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.